Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the third chapter of psychology, where we will study about motivational cycle, types of motivation, theories of motivation, emotion, emotional labor, emotional dimension, emotional organization, and implications for manager. So talking first about motivation, it is derived from the Latin word movere, which means to move, and it is the driving force that activates, guides, and maintains the behavior. It is aimed at the goal and incentive. There are three interacting and interdependent elements. So first is need. So the general want or the desire created by the physiological and psychological imbalance, for example hunger. Next we have drives. So it is the deficiency with the direction, where the physiological and psychological drives are action oriented that provide thrust towards incentives. Next we have incentives, anything that elevate the need and reduce the drive. It's incentive. It tends to restore the physiological and psychological balance. It reduces and cuts the drive. Next we have motivation cycle. It is defined by the drive theories, which states that when internal driving stage is aroused, individual is pushed to engage in a behavior which will lead to a goal, which is incentive, reducing the intensity of a driving stage. So motivation cycle consists of driving stage, goal directed behavior initiated by driving state, attainment of appropriate goal, reduction of the drive state, and subjective satisfaction or relief when the goal is reached. Now we have types of motivation. So there are basically two types of motivation, primary and secondary. So primary motivation, they are unlearned and physiological based motive. It is biological, unlearned, and primary. There are two criteria: it must be unlearned and it is physiological needs, which includes hunger and thirst. So hunger is regulated by the small forehead structure, that is hypothalamus, where the feeding system, it initiates eating. Satiety system stops eating when it is enough and due to the stomach contraction and blood sugar level. Next we have thirst. So it is greater than the hunger drive. It is regulated by hypothalamus to drink or not to drink due to the dryness of the mouth or the total blood volume in a body. Next we have secondary motive. So the motive must be learned. It is psychological social motive. It is not biological but learned. There are five types. So talking first about achievement, it is the degree of a person wishes to accomplish a challenging goal, succeed in competitive situation, and exhibit the desire for the feedback. It includes doing better than others, attaining the difficult goals, and solve the complex problem. Next we have affiliation motive. So it is the degree to which a person seeks the approval from others and conform to wishes. It avoids conflict. It includes being liked by others or being accepted by others in a group or a team. And next we have rest and sleep under the primary motive. So the basic necessity of the life need for a sleep arises when an individual is tired. Rest and sleep recover and revitalized used up energy. Next is sex. It is the physiological motive, but it is not essential to survive like water. It is stimulated by the presence of sex hormone, the external stimulus, and cerebral activities. And next we have maternal behavior. It is a symbol of love, affection, concern, worry of mothers, parents for their children. Pituitary glands excretes the prolactin protein, which is responsible for such drives. Talking about the secondary motive after the achievement and affiliation, there is power motive. It is the quest for the power which is readily observable in the society. So there are social power and personal power. The social power is of a effective leader devoted towards to develop trust and respect. Meanwhile, personal power is oriented ability to dominate others. It is influencing others, controlling positioning of authority, and control over the information and resources. Next we have security motive. So it is fast paced, highly technological, ranges from the job security to the emotional security. It is based on the fear and avoidance. It includes having a secure job, protected from income, protection from illness, and avoid a risky task. Next we have status motives. The relative ranking of that person holds in a group or organization. It includes working for the right company and having the degree of right university and even having the executive privileges. Now we have theories of motivation. So we will discuss about drive theory, arousal theory, expectancy theory, goal setting theory, and equity theory. So talking first about the drive theory, it is the biological need within our body creating unpleasant state. The hunger, thirst, and fatigue are example of it. To eliminate such feeling and restoring the balanced physiological states, we engaged in activities and behavior reducing that are strengthening and trained to be repeated. Arousal theory, it is alternative theory of the motivation. It states that we seek optimal arousal situated to our personal character. The performance increased as arousal rises up. The further increase in arousal actually reduces the performance. The lower level of arousal at which the reduction in the performance begin to occur. It is known as Yerkes-Dodson law. Next we have expectancy theory. The people labor hard devoting their time and effort as they believe that their performance will be improved and the outcome will come. It concentrates that on having the best thing as individual wants. It is affected by three factors, which is the expectancy. It is the extra effort and energy that will lead to improved performance as effort performance. Next we have instrumentality, which pushes a person to work hard and put a lot of effort and energy, which is good perform rewarded. And next we have balance. It is the value placed on the rewards that are affected by the organization reward related to our personal goals to encourage. Now we have goal setting theory. So employees must be committed to achieve the work goal. It is increasing the motivation achievement in different way by fixing certain specific and challenging goals. Goal must be attainable, realistic, qualified, and measurable. Goal must be provided feedback and give the degree of progress. The feedback means compare the past and present with optimism and energy and develop the future strategies as well. Now we have equity theory. So it is making the balanced judgment in input and output. The judgment input as education, time, skill, and experience. Output will be the job satisfaction, pay, recognition, and working condition. The ratio of input and the benefit of output must be equal to make motivation and remain constant. So such situation is known as self-serving bias. Now we have emotion. So it includes the physiological change within the organism that can be understood from the expressive movement. So it changes the internal and external behavior. It makes life interesting or distressing, pleasant or not, happy or not. So it is responsible for the finest human character. It consists of three components: physiological changes such as heartbeat and pulses, subjective changes such as personal experience, expressive changes such as weeping and breathing. Now we have emotional labor. It is the form of emotional regulation in which the workers expected to display their emotion. It is the part of a job to promote their organizational goal. The targeted people can be client, customer, subordinates, and co-workers. It is desired emotion during the interpersonal transaction. Now we have types of emotion. There is felt and displayed emotion. So felt emotion is individual actual emotion. Meanwhile, displayed emotion is required and considered appropriate in a given situation. Now talking about the emotional dimension, it explains about the way of emotion vary. There are three broad concepts: variety. So it is the basic categorization is positive or negative emotion. The positive emotion is happiness, hope for the favorable evaluation, a feeling like love, joy, and curiosity. Next we have negative emotion, which is unpleasant like fear, rage, jealousy, chasing harm to the well-being. There are six universal emotions, which is anger, fear, happiness, disgust, and surprise. Now talking about intensity, so it gives the response to the identical emotional stimuli. The people may vary to express the intensity of the emotion. For example, the air traffic controller needs to be calm and controlled. The public speaker and lawyer alter their intensity of conversation. Talking about the duration and frequency, so it depends on the individual difference and nature of the job. The job with a high frequency or long duration are more demanding and required to make more effort with the employees. Now we have external constraints on emotion. So there is organizational influence and cultural influence on a human being. So organizational influence, where the organization has boundaries of emotion. The emotions in the organization may not be acceptable by others. The emotion expression affect displaying of emotion. The emotion displayed shaped by the organization working for. Cultural influence is the way the people experience emotion, and the way of people interpreting the emotion vary across the culture. The American values enthusiasm. Chinese considered negative motivation as motivating factor. The cultural norms define the appropriateness of emotion. Now we have emotional organization. It is the concept of emotion applicable to the organizational setting. It is essential for the job satisfaction and employees' performance. It improves the ability to explain and predict the selection process, decision making, leadership, and interpersonal conflict. There are different components such as component of ability and selection, which include self-awareness, self-management, self-motivation, empathy, social skill, decision making, interpretation, relation, creativity, and motivation and leadership. Now talking about ability and selection, so the success of the organization depend on selecting the manpower. Manager manages to manage the employee. The ability include the ability to understand, perceive, and access and manage emotion. Such ability is known as emotional intelligence. It includes 5 dimensions: self-awareness, where it is aware of one's own feeling, moods, or needs. It is important as essential for understanding, predicting emotions, and affecting our decision. Next, we have self-management. It is ability to manage the own's emotion. The person with high emotion managing skill remain calm in different situation. It shows confidence and force in sequences. Next, we have self-motivation. It urges to manage and maintain the emotional behavior in a stable manner. During the setbacks, failures, persistent efforts, self-motivation is necessary. It allows person to be optimistic and pursue goals with power and enthusiasm. Next, we have empathy. It is the ability to sense how others are feeling. It allows to read others' mood and act accordingly. Now we have social skill. It is ability to handle the emotion of others. The employees aren't harmony with organizational demand. It is necessary to handle and manage the emotion for the ability to mix and form relation network. The EQ, which means emotional quotient, is important for the decision making and success of the organization. Next, we have decision making. It is the curious and conscious process of making the choices to reach the desired affairs. The traditional approach to emphasize the rationality. It ignores the roles of anxiety and fear, etc. The negative emotion results limited search for the new alternative. The positive increases the problem solving skills, creative thinking in decision making. And now we have interpersonal relation. It is the conflict affects the employee's performance, leading to negative emotion. So the manager's ability is to resolve the conflict depends on the ability to identify the emotional element in the conflict. The neglecting the emotion leads to interpersonal conflict, hampering overall well-being. Next, we have creativity. People produce more ideas to identify the creative option towards the problem. So people with the positive mood are flexible, open in thinking, and are more creative. Supervisors should keep employee happy for good moods and make more them creative. Next, we have motivation and leadership. At the interesting job, people are motivated to work, not caring of the dinner or leisure time. So emotion is the perceptual process, that is motivation is significant. Without motivation, emotion can never be strong. Next, we have implications for manager. Manager who understands the roles of the emotion will significantly improve ability to explain, predict co-workers' behavior. Negative emotion can hinder the performance. Emotions and mood can be enhanced performance. Now, emotions at arousal level increased. It motivates employees to work better. Emotional labor recognizes feeling that can be a part of job's performance. An ability to manage the emotion in the leadership or sales or customer service may be critical to success in those positions. So thank you. That's the end of the chapter motivation. So make sure you like, comment and subscribe. You guys are amazing. Keep reading.